Everybody has one podcast. We are back.
Yes, yes.
Another week. So much going on in the world of sports. So little time to discuss it all. I'm your host, Jason Flake. My co-host, Lance Reynolds, a.k.a. the People's Champ.
What up, Joe?
We like to start the show the same way each week by thanking the Everybody Has One family, man, for hitting all of the platforms, man, hitting the YouTube channel. We got thousands of views over there. We want to continue to encourage you to like, share, and subscribe, man. That is Everybody Has the #1 sports podcast on YouTube. Everybody Has One spelled out sports podcast everywhere else. That's Facebook. That's Instagram. That is Twitch. That's Threads. And that is TikTok. The audio version of the podcast is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Make sure you're checking us out there. When you subscribe on the YouTube channel, make sure you hit the bell notification. When you hit the bell notification, make sure you hit all so that you are notified every single time we post new content, new videos, new shorts, and, of course, every time we go live, which is every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. or as close as we can get to it. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. None of this is possible without the Everybody Has One family tapping in with us, checking in with us, engaging with the content, and letting everybody know to listen to the Everybody Has One podcast and get on to the content. And speaking of getting on to the content, let's get on to the topics.
All right.
Because there's so much to discuss, man. And as we said, so little time to discuss it all. The NBA Finals is popping off right now. But let's talk about the Western Conference Finals that wrapped up this past Saturday night after forcing a Game 7 with a Game 6 victory on Thursday. The San Antonio Spurs completed the comeback from a 3-2 series deficit to defeat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Despite Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring 35 points on an efficient 12 for 21 shooting, the Thunder were unable to seize control of the game down the stretch. Victor Wembanyama scored 22 points on 7 of 15 shooting, making 3 of his 5 3-point attempts while grabbing 7 rebounds. Julian Champagnie had 20 points, 6 for 11 from the field. All 6 of his field goals were made from 3-point range. We'll now have a new champion for the 8th time in as many seasons. Let me ask the People's Champ, is this the beginning of a Spurs dynasty and a Bill Russell-type run for Wemby, or are they just the latest championship favorite? What say the People's Champ?
Yeah, I think we may want to pump the brakes on it being a Spurs dynasty. Mm-hmm. I do think, however, it may be the start of a great Thunder-Spurs rivalry.
I like that.
And I think that may be better for basketball fans long term.
Yes.
Kind of like how the Warriors versus whatever team LeBron was on for about a 4 or 5 year window.
Sure. Yeah.
In the 20 teens, late 20 teens. So, I see that as more probable than a Wemby Russell type run, at least right now today.
I like that. I think the NBA needs a good rivalry now. Along with us, embarking on our 8th different champion in as many years. This is also our 8th different matchup in as many years. I'd like to see a little bit of chippiness start to form. And we saw a little bit of that in the Western Conference Finals, by the way.
Indeed.
As well. But I'll let you finish your thought.
No, so, I just think it may be a little premature to claim that. But, and for the simple reason that OKC presumably will get healthy.
Sure.
They'll get better because, their players, they're a young team as well.
Yep.
Definitely
are.
There's what the Timberwolves are going to do, what Denver's going to do.
Sure.
The Western Conference still loaded.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So, there's that. There's always the allure of Los Angeles.
Yep.
And they still have a relatively young Luka Doncic.
Yep.
So there's that. So I think this next 2 weeks will tell a lot in terms of that forecast.
Sure.
So I'm excited to see it. But if you're asking me right now today, I would lean more towards the probability of the OKC Spurs rivalry happening more so than a Wemby Russell era per se. But sign me up for either or.
Yeah, no doubt.
Full disclosure.
No, all great points. I think Wemby is an incredible otherworldly talent, the likes of which we really have never seen. He, the alien fits him. When I see him play, his floor is the ceiling that most players reach for. That being said, I don't think it's a dynastic league anymore like that. The last 4 baskets for the Spurs were Champagnie 3, Dylan Harper made 2, Stephon Castle made 2, Devin Vassell made 2. Chances are they will be without at least one of them when they tip off game 1 next season. Because Champagnie is a free agent, De'Aaron Fox, we just talked about that off air. He just signed a max deal that kicks in next season through 2030. So in my opinion, that makes him untradeable in the immediate future. Wemby's going to get an extension over the summer, which will definitely be top of market value, which, he obviously deserves. And the second apron really prevents you from having more than 3 max players.
Right.
And Devin Vassell is making close to $30 million per. So even if you find a trade partner like we were talking about for De'Aaron Fox, you won't realize any immediate savings.
Right.
Those won't kick in even if you find an expiring contract until after next season. There's too much player movement. Teams adjust too well. There's too much ability for teams that are close to upgrade. Rosters have too little ability for the defending champion to maintain the current roster.
Right.
There's almost always upheaval. Major pieces are almost always lost for the defending champ. So I don't think Wemby will have a Bill Russell type run. I think it's on the table that he could have a Tim Duncan type run where he wins a number of titles over the course of a long career.
Yeah.
And that's obviously health permitting. But another topic of discussion during the Thunder Spurs was Chet Holmgren. And I mentioned that he had been the one consistent big in the entire playoffs so far prior to the series starting. I also mentioned that he was, because the competition level had been lower than almost anyone else's, and that we'd see that competition level dramatically increase moving forward. So let me ask the People's Champ. Was Chet's poor performance in Game 7 and the Western Conference Finals overall the result of Wemby being a bad matchup, some kind of mental block, both, or something else entirely?
I think the larger slice of the pie is Wemby being a bad matchup.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
And then I think the latter part would be, after a while, Chet kind of just got into his own head.
Yep.
Started hearing the chatter.
Mm-hmm.
He's still young too. Was he
24.
24.
Yep.
Good God.
Yep.
So, and then there's also him being, not only having the bad matchup with Wemby, his role on the team for that series being totally changed with the injuries to Mitchell and J-Dub.
Yeah, no doubt.
So like now the weight of his typical contribution dramatically increases and shifts.
Sure.
Where the stakes are higher. And, some players can do that naturally. Some struggle with that. And, I mean, when the opposition is a 7'6",
right, monster with an 8-foot wingspan, right,
that hates your guts.
Yeah, right, you're right. And that always turns up against you, particularly defensively.
So while you're, let's just say for, and this is just me being speculative, say he's, lost in his head per se, and then
Sure.
you've got this coming at you too.
Yeah.
I could see how it could go from sugar to shit real bad, real fast.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
So, I think the trade Chet talk and all of that is a bit extreme.
Yeah, I mean, that's too much. I agree.
And I know Shay's been getting a lot of flack for, I guess being too cool for school. But the fact of the matter is,
but they say that about Cade too. I mean,
yeah.
I've heard older guys say that Cade is a little too laid back. For
yeah,
that.
man.
I'm like, what does that have to do with anything?
But the fact of the matter is that Shay was right. This will more than likely be the worst version of Chet Holmgren that we'll see.
Yeah.
He'll just have to put the time in and get better.
Yeah.
Take it personal.
Yeah, most definitely. No, all excellent points, and it mimics much of what I had to say. Listen, Wemby is one of the best defensive bigs that we've ever seen, possibly the best defensive big we've ever seen. His length and lateral quickness present very unique obstacles for an offensive player, particularly when he's your primary defender. Chet did look overwhelmed, at times by the sheer size and obtrusiveness of Wemby, because he's obstructive when he's defending you one-on-one. But even with that, obviously, 2 shot attempts in the game 7,
right.
And no shot attempts in the second half. That's unacceptable. You want to see him try to turn up and be more aggressive.
Yeah, it's all-time bad game 7 for sure.
Yeah, but I'm going to defend him a little bit because I said this about the Pistons staff, and I'm going to say it about the Oklahoma City staff. Run some sets for your big guys, man. I mean, does nobody run sets for the big fellas anymore? Like, listen, all my NBA coaches, it's legal to set screens below the free throw line. It's okay to get your big fella an easy look when he's struggling, when he's being keyed on. Screens below the free throw line do the same thing that screens above the free throw line do. They create cross matches and mismatches. Mm-hmm. They do the same thing. Like set a screen, get a cross match, get a mismatch for Chet. Get him something easy. Like we don't do and me and you agree. It's a wings league now. And I get it. I get probably most of the coaching is geared toward wings. Right. And then, when you have a big guy like Chet that has guard skills, they probably run guard sets for him. And I'm like, man, get the guy something close to the basket. I'm screaming at the TV like, look, man, the guy is struggling, though.
Yeah.
Like, when he's struggling, try to get him something easy. Right. Like, do we not get the big fellas anything easy anymore?
Right.
And I'm like, so I will defend him in that regard.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, I think that is probably a universal thing in the NBA now where, again, most of the primary scorers are wings and guards. Mm-hmm. So all of the offense is geared toward wings and guards. And again, when people take away the bigs, like on horn sets and high screening rolls, these coaches, they retreat. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to the San Antonio Spurs, because conversely, when Wemby had a bad game, Mitch Johnson is like, look, we got to do better to get him involved. And they did do the cross-screening action that I mentioned that they used to do with Shaq. And I'm not saying anybody is Shaq, but you can set screens below the free throw line. You can do different things to try to get guys set up closer to the basket so that they can get easy looks. I mean, they just leave these big guys hanging when they not having a good game. It's like, go out there and figure out your way. You know what I'm saying? Like, nope. So you're not going to run a set for him. You ain't going to try to pin him down. You ain't going to set a back screen. Like, it was just nothing. It was like, he got to figure it out.
It was tough because, to your point, Chet is, a big with guard skills.
Right.
And typically, and which has been, his tenure with the Thunder, he's like the guy that puts them over,
right?
Most nights, because most teams don't have that as the third guy.
Right, exactly.
But the Spurs have that who, the big with guard skills.
Correct.
That just happens to be the biggest mofo in the league. So it's just
Right.
like, oh. So I mean, I could fathom how Chet is like, well damn.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like, man, can you give me something?
Like,
yeah, right.
I'm usually the death blow.
Yeah.
And now I'm up against like a bigger death blow.
Correct.
Like, what do I do here?
Right. And the pressure is on for coaching staffs, I think, to be more creative. Yeah, because Wemby he's a puzzle. Like, he creates a problem. That's why he's the defensive player of the year, because he creates such an issue when he is in the game defending. He's got that great lateral quickness, so he's not just in the paint. Like, he can actually step out. He can create mid-range shots difficult even from the paint. Again, especially when he's your primary defender. It's not as if he's just help side on you, like he's your primary defender. So, no, I mean, the guy is a puzzle. And, I'm just like, man, can, help the guy out a little bit, man.
I hear you, man.
I'm like, you gotta help.
Yeah,
but
everybody out there, I get it. 2 shots is terrible. But,
yeah.
But, especially when the first play of the game on defense, it's like give and go, no dribble, dunk on and one.
Right.
This is how the night's gonna go.
Yeah, and that kind of feeds into, why I don't believe that, we're in the midst of a dynasty. Because, it's a 3-point shooting league.
Yes.
They just don't set these bigs up like that. And as long as it's a 3-point shooting league, I've said it before, but it bears repeating, that's an unreliable game plan. And as long as it's a 3-point shooting league, what you're going to get is different champions all the time, because it's whoever's shot is falling.
Only one set of Splash Brothers.
Yep. And so before we transition, it has been reported that both Isaiah Hartenstein and Lou Dort have team options on their respective contracts this coming offseason, and the Thunder are expected to decline both. Lou Dort's number is just north of $17 million, and Hartenstein's number is $28.5 million. The organization has said that they are open to bringing both or either back on a, quote, more team-friendly deal, unquote. Do you expect the Thunder to re-sign either or both? If not, do you expect them to draft their replacement or look to be active in free agency? We'll say the people's champ.
Yeah, Lou Dort, congratulations. You're a Los Angeles Laker.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think it would be smart on them to at least give him a call in terms of how bad their perimeter defense is going to be, and if they're going to be committed themselves to Austin Reeves and, and their putrid perimeter defense.
Yep.
They may want to get some backup to help out Marcus Smart, because he's not getting any younger if they plan on bringing him back. Correct. So there's that. As for Hartenstein, if Chet has shown you anything, and again, this is no knock on him, he's shown you that, he's not a 5.
Wrote that down. So, I'm like, he's a power forward.
And there's nothing wrong with accepting reality. You start getting in trouble when you deny it.
With Wemby around, man, yeah, I'm like, I said the same thing. I'd be talking to Hartenstein's people. I'd be looking to try to get him back. And again, like, I understand if you don't want to pay him $28.5 million, because there's a lot of mouths to feed around there now. But yes, I kind of agree. Yeah, I'm like, Lou Dort is redundant. They have a lot of wings with Wallace, A.J. Mitchell, Aaron Wiggins, right, Isaiah Joe, etc. But Hartenstein is unique, and I would think that you would want to bring him back unless they plan on perhaps packaging the 2 draft picks that they have and trading down to get a Mara. That would be the only exception. I mean, after seeing what we just saw, 7'3", 250 pounds, it seems like that might be the remedy. That might be the recipe for them at this juncture.
May want to invest in one of them.
Especially if this big monster is going to be here for the next decade-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like that's definitely something to consider. But you know, personally, selfishly, I hope they don't do that because the Pistons have said to be interested in trading up to their number 12 pick to get Yaxel Linderborg. But again, that's something that we'll discuss as the draft draws closer. But they, if I was the Thunder, I'd be seriously considered. But they have lots of future draft picks too, so they don't necessarily have to package the two that they have now. They could package some future picks and say,
they got plenty of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look, here's our 2027 and 2028. Let us trade up, and then here's one of our picks this year, and then let us trade up and take a Daimara. So I digress, though. I kind of agree that Lou Dort is probably redundancy. You don't need to bring him back for that $17 million. You can clear that out, and probably talk to Hartenstein unless they do plan on going after Mara. And we talked about the Chet trade conversation. We just live in an overreaction society.
Right.
I understand the disappointment, the subpar performances, but, Chet will be fine. He's just 24 years old. We talked about that. He's young. He'll be fine. Let's talk about this finals matchup. The finals is going on as we speak. 14-9 with about 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Knicks and Spurs are set to tip off. Well, they have tipped off now. Most sports books have the Spurs favored to win game one and the series with about a minus 190 odds, despite the Knicks winning the season series 2-1. The Knicks look to snap a 53-year drought, while the Spurs look to win their first title since 2014. The Knicks have, of course, won 11 straight playoff games, which is the best such stretch in NBA history, while the Spurs are led by a generational talent at the center position in Victor Wembanyama. Most of the conversation leading up to the series is about how the Knicks will defend Wemby and who will control the pace of play. So let me ask the People's Champ, man, who has the matchup advantage overall? Is it OG, Cat, Brunson, Bridges, and Hart, or Wemby, Champagny, Fox, Vassell, and Castle? What say the People's Champ?
Wow, that's a lot to unpack there.
That is.
That's a lot.
That's loaded, yeah. That's a loaded question.
Wow. Well, the thing about it with Wemby and as it pertains to this matchup, I think the Knicks have about as good a counter to him outside of Giannis.
Sure.
That you can ask for.
Yep.
And we're talking real fantasy world. A healthy Joel Embiid.
Sure. Yeah.
If you don't have a healthy Joel Embiid or Giannis, then basically it's kind of good luck against Wemby.
I mean, yeah.
If you don't have those two, strategically you can use Karl Anthony Towns in spurts.
Sure.
To kind of neutralize his effectiveness, because what Towns does best, I won't say what he does best, but what he does well as a part of his skill set is he can take bigs outside on the perimeter. And his ability to shoot, of course, has been well documented.
Absolutely.
But he can put it on the floor and get around most bigs.
Yeah.
He's capable of doing that. And he's a capable passer as well. So that's interesting. I think what that can do is when you pull Wemby away from the basket, now it kind of turns into who's going to rebound for the Spurs.
Sure.
And we know when you're talking Knicks, Josh Hart chases down loose balls.
Absolutely, yeah. He's an excellent rebounder, particularly for his size.
OG chases down loose balls. Towns is the number 2 rebounder in the league.
Yep, absolutely.
So, there's that. I think when you're talking a team with size and that likes to slow the game down at times,
yeah,
possessions will be extremely vital. So there's that. I think the biggest thing to me where the Knicks' success is going to be OG Anunoby's hamstring.
Yeah.
That's where that rest versus rust kind of comes into play. But, those hamstrings, man, they're just so hamstrings and groins, man. They're so unpredictable.
Yeah, the soft tissue injuries. No, you're right. And they can be tweaked easily.
Easily.
Yep.
So
you can't really brace them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing that you can, because there's ankle braces and, there's knee braces, but there's not really a hamstring or a groin brace. You know what I'm saying? So, no, you're right.
Yeah, him and Bridges, they do so much.
Yeah, they do.
So if that becomes an issue, much like J-Dub in the prior series for the Spurs and OKC, that could be something to keep an eye on. But I think for this particular series, you got to keep an eye on the Kentucky guys, Cat and Fox. I think Fox can be a sufficient counter to Brunson in spurts.
Yep. I said something similar to that.
Because I think that's how the Spurs will have to attack him collectively. Because I just, how I feel about Brunson. I just think offensively he's a juggernaut. And I feel that, not to say that he's better than SGA, I just feel the way that he uses his physicality is different. And it's more inviting versus the Spurs.
Yeah.
Than SGA's play style is. Like Brunson is more built for and he's more willing to bump and grind.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So I don't think it will wear on him as much as it did SGA. So I think that's something to keep an eye on as well.
No, that's all good stuff. I do think the overall matchup advantages probably favor the Spurs ever so slightly, but it's slight.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's slight. Like when I started looking at it, like matchup for matchup, obviously Wemby gets the nod over Cat, right? But that's it's not a gulf
right
between those two, because Cat, as you said, I mean, he's got ability. Like he can get hot he's probably the best big guy shooter ever, like a 40% 3-point shooter. So he can obviously get hot. When you start looking at, obviously Brunson gets the nod over Fox. But, like obviously Fox has the ability as well. Like we've seen him go nuclear at times. Both of those matchups are intriguing. They can both get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Castle and OG is a push. Like you said, I mean, if OG stays healthy, I think both of them are playing at an extremely high level right now. You know, Castle, the turnovers notwithstanding, right? Like he needs to clean that part of the game up.
Right.
But otherwise, he's playing great. Bridges and Champagnie are both wild cards.
Yes.
I would say Bridges is probably playing a little bit better than him, but Champagnie really came on strong.
He's trending. He's trending hot.
He came on strong at the end of the last series of Western Conference Finals. So, either can have a big game at any time, and then I give Vassell the slight edge over Hart. But Hart has acquitted himself extremely well in this run, and he's made every shot that he's needed to make. Like, he's not missed any shot that he's needed to make. And so you have to account for him at all times. And then when you get into the depth, I think the Spurs have the slight advantage there. They got the sixth man of the year and Keldon Johnson. And then Dylan Harper is just a nuclear weapon. Yeah. I mean, we watching him right now just go.
He's the push.
Yeah. That dude can, at any time just turn up and go nuts. But during this run, McBride, Shamet, and Robinson have all been very solid.
Yes.
There have been a lot of blowouts, so there hasn't been a lot of high leverage basketball. But they've all been very good. They've played their roles extremely well. As you know, the Knicks have been off since Memorial Day, which gives them 9 days of rest, and they've also, as a team, played very little high leverage basketball in the last month because they've been beating the brakes off of teams. Let me ask you: do you think the rest helps the Knicks, or do you think it will hamper them? What say the people's champ?
I think in the long term, I think it'll help the Knicks. If the longer this series goes, I just think the longer you run a big body, an abnormal, freakish big body like Wemby, you may start to tire him out a little bit. So, yeah, I think the cumulative effect of, the rest will help the Knicks if this turns out to be a long series.
We have the same thought. I think initially the rest will lead to some rust, but if this turns into a long series, it helps the Knicks. I have the same thing in my notes. Yep, the Knicks being the more seasoned team, I also think is an advantage because they understand what it takes to negotiate this type of a long run. And that's the one thing about the Spurs that does give me pause. They are young, Like all of my basketball intellect tells me that they're just too much youth on that team to get them over the hump.
Yeah, they're defying every conventional wisdom about basketball as we speak.
22-year-old centerpieces, man.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's
Harper's 20.
That's what I'm saying. He's a rookie, and that dude but he is a nuclear weapon. Like he comes off the bench and just changes the game. Like the Spurs were just struggling offensively. He came off the bench and just lit it on fire,
and then he guards.
That's what I'm saying. Like no,
he guards.
Yeah, and I'm like, and his jumper is not even fully formed yet. Like
line drive.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Benny
saying.
Johnson looking thing, but he ain't scared to shoot it.
No, and I'm like, and when he hitting it, good luck to you, because I don't know what you do to take him. Like the conventional the scouting report is to give up the jumper to him.
Okay,
but when he hitting it, I'm like, I don't really know what you do because his layup package is insane. So I'm like, when the dude is hitting the jumper, I'm like, what do you do? Like, how do you, even with these really excellent perimeter defenders that the Knicks have, I don't know what you do because he's long and athletic otherwise. Like, if you try to push up on him, he's going to go by you. So, I mean, no, man, good luck with that. Like, that dude, and he just scratching the surface of what he can really do.
Man.
I'm like, man, that dude is nice. But, I'm bullish on Dylan Harper, man. I like that guy. I don't mean to be, I don't want to get into hyper. I'm not sure that he's not at least just as good as Cooper Flag. Like watching this run, I'm like, and I like Cooper Flag. I was on Cooper Flag for the Rookie of the Year. I'm not trying to even say nothing bad about. I'm complimenting Dylan Harper, not saying nothing bad about Cooper Flag. I'm just saying, like, I'm not sure this kid is not right in that same conversation.
Well, I mean, that was the conversation, pretty much leading up into the draft. So, I mean, you're not in outer space or anything by saying that. You know? It's always fun to think about what kind of numbers he would put up on a Dallas team where he can just kind of figure it out every night and just kind of.
That's what I'm saying.
Have the range like, say, a LaMelo Ball or something just to kind of just throw him the ball and see what he can do. But, I mean, that said, Cooper Flag was able to do that where that really shouldn't have probably been his role.
Yeah, exactly.
And to be able to thrive with that.
No, Coop had a great season, man.
Like, so, I think
I'm not saying nothing bad about Coop. Coop balled out. He had 50-point games. I mean, he had a huge impact.
I just think it adds to your point that the Spurs should count their blessings and, damn, some folks just have all the luck.
I know. Yeah, right. But I digress. Yeah, man. So I'll leave a little cliffhanger,
of Harper,
man.
Good Lord.
Let me ask the people's champ, man. Because there is a lot of youth on the Spurs, man. So they will defy conventional wisdom if they win. And we talk. Yeah, I know they up.
Watch
they
this
up
Euro.
No, man, his layup package is crazy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I saw it.
The Bismack Biyombo go goon out on Jalen Brunson.
On the 20. I told you his layup package is crazy. 20-3 run. And it started when he came in the game. I'm telling you. This dude is nuclear. This dude is a nuclear weapon, bro.
Ron's boy.
Yeah. I'm like, man.
Miami, Ohio.
Dylan Harper is a nuclear weapon, man. Let me ask the people's champ.
Maria's boy, too. I don't want to get shot on the internet.
Who wins the series, man? How many games and why, man? Let's get right down to it.
Man, I have flip-flopped on this about a dozen times.
Me too, man.
I mean, it's okay. So, I mean, I'm not much of a basketball mind, but the basketball aficionado in me says that the Knicks should win in like 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
But the basketball fan in me, God really wants to see the Spurs pull this thing off. Just because it would be just wild to see. Like, that would be wild to see just a group of essentially college kids just run through the NBA playoffs and win an NBA championship. That would be, something that, they'll look back on, years from now and be like, remember when that happened. But if I had to put money, if I was betting my money on who wins this series, and I'm gonna go with my gut and say that the Knicks pull it out. I think the New York Knicks win this thing they do it in New York in 6.
I went back and forth as well between the inevitability of Wemby and the experience of the Knicks. And my initial pick was Spurs in 6 because I do feel like they just have more talent. And I feel like, then I went back to the experience of the Knicks. I looked at the coaching staff. Mitch Johnson is young. I didn't particularly care for some of the decisions that he was making last round. And Mike Brown, I believe, does have the advantage over him coaching. And then I started to think about Brunson, his advantage over Fox. And, I didn't really care for how De'Aaron Fox played last series either.
Right.
But I am going to stay Spurs in 6.
Okay.
I'm tacit with that pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if it went the other way because the series feels like a pick 'em.
Me neither.
More than any other final series that we've seen in a while. And I say that fully understanding that last year's finals went to 7 games, but I always expected Oklahoma City to win.
But, man, Tyrese Halliburton was on one that game.
No, not that game. That run.
But, I mean, that game in particular before he got hurt, I mean, he was on one.
No, man, listen, shout out to Tyrese Halliburton played his behind off that entire playoff
Yeah, he was
run.
he was like a buzzer beater every other game, every round. Yeah,
Brody turned up last year, bro.
But he was in the midst of, I mean, he could have pulled it off like that. And that may slip under the rug over time in the what if category.
Man.
But that's definitely one because he was, I mean, that game was neck and neck when he got hurt.
It was, man. No, listen, bro. Tyrese Halliburton balled out.
That was
last
a run,
playoff.
bro.
That was
a run.
That was one of the very best playoff runs by a single player that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Right up there. What was that? Jimmy Butler and what was that?
Yeah.
23?
Yep. The
Or
Butler
22?
did it.
Was that 22 or 23? Yeah.
Yeah, nah, man. That's one of the great playoff runs, man, that I've seen. I'm like, no, I give Tyrese, man, he earned a lot of respect from me. I'm like, that dude turned up in the playoffs, man. He was very, very outstanding. So, yeah, man, I'm a stick with Spurs in 6. This could be a 7-game series, though.
Yes.
I say that with we just saw Brunson walk off. I have no doubt that Brunson is coming back, though.
Man.
Brunson they gonna have to amputate something for him not to come back. Brunson is not staying out of this
will
game.
dust off one of the old knee braces in the closet and be like, "Hey, this is an oldie but goodie. Try this one."
If Brunson don't come back, he hurt for real. Like that, that's a real problem. But no, I fully expect Brunson to come back. He'll be back out there. Man, let's move on to big news that took place this week, man. Myles Garrett.
Yeah, man.
This past Monday, the Los Angeles Rams acquired Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns in exchange for defensive end Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round draft pick, a 2028 second-round draft pick, and a 2029 third-round draft pick. It's reported that trade talks for Garrett heated up after the NFL draft. The Browns reportedly were not interested in moving Garrett until Jared Verse became a part of the deal.
Makes sense.
Yep. Garrett is joining the Rams, a team clearly all in on pursuing a Super Bowl in 2026. Garrett said upon his arrival to Los Angeles, quote, "Nothing is quite as rejuvenating as an ocean breeze, sunshine, and a legitimate chance to win a ring," unquote.
Preach on.
How legitimate is that chance to win a ring? What say the people's champ?
I believe it's very legitimate. You gave the reigning MVP of the league, the reigning defensive player of the year, and not only that, you put Trent McDuffie behind him. So before we, have that conversation about pass rushers and what they add and how they swing the needle, please know and understand that this season we are going to see Myles Garrett in uncharted water where he's going to be consistently probably playing with the lead.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to consistently have elite help behind him.
Yes.
At the corner position.
Of course.
So, I think it makes them one of the favorites. How could it not? I mean, in addition to the fact that they have one of the more innovative and capable offensive minds on the sideline, the game scene.
Yeah.
Where you're just adding a defensive freak to him. Oh, and then Aaron Donald may get the fire back lit and come back.
Oh, God.
There's that.
Please don't. Please. As a Lions fan, Aaron Donald.
And again, that's all speculative.
Yeah, please stay where you at.
That's all speculative and, me video gaming. But,
yeah.
The rumors are, I think he already was on McAfee earlier this week. Talking about, giving people like us a little bit of fodder.
Yeah, man. Please don't, Aaron Donald. Please. Please.
Yeah, for the sake of the Detroit Lions and every other NFL team in the NFC.
Yes, please don't. No, yes, absolutely. Very legitimate chance to win a championship. The Rams were a fourth down conversion away from winning the NFC Championship game last season. They lost 2 games to the eventual Super Bowl champion by a combined 5 points.
Yes.
One being a 1-point overtime loss and the other being a 4-point loss in the NFC Championship game that, again, came down to a failed fourth down conversion from the Seattle 6-yard line. So, somebody Myles Garrett does make the Rams a Super Bowl. Somebody said, does Myles Garrett make the Rams a Super Bowl contender? I said, no, they were already a Super Bowl contender.
Right.
But let me ask the people's champ. Does Myles Garrett make the Rams the Super Bowl favorite?
Favorites to win it all?
Mm-hmm.
I think as is today, I would say yes. Because again, I think you just can't discredit the fact that they got Trent McDuffie as well.
Yeah.
I think that just make him and Myles Garrett is just going to make that defense so much better. And we can get into the nuanced stuff about the receiver position for the Rams and the whole Puka Nacua and where his head's at per se, and of course they won't have Devontae Adams this coming season,
right?
So there is that.
Sure,
but outside of that, I don't see how could they not be the favorite, because there's, I'm thinking, maybe, I don't know, maybe Houston.
No,
but it's who else other than the Rams? It's Seattle. You'd have to throw them back in the mix.
Sure, yeah, but they have a dubious running back, situation. So I agree. I say he definitely does. just because I don't believe the edge rusher is a needle mover, that doesn't mean I don't believe the edge rusher is a difference maker.
Right.
Myles Garrett is a difference maker. I don't necessarily think he adds a win or loss to a bad team. I'll even take it a step further. He might not add a win or a loss to a good team, but he could definitely make an important play in a critical situation, to steal a game. He could definitely make a series of plays to cement an important victory. The problem with $40 million pass rushers, and this is what I've said, is they limit an organization's mobility in the long run. That's why no team with a highly paid pass rusher to date has won the Super Bowl. If the Rams do it, they would be the first. My point about edge rushers has been and remains that the market has decided that they should be the second highest paid player. And I've already cited, the Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa and Christian McCaffrey is already my case study. 2024, Christian McCaffrey basically was out for the entire season for the 49ers. Mm-hmm. Nick Bosa, he played 14 of the 17 games. So he was there basically for the entire season. The 49ers won 6 games. The following season, Nick Bosa basically out for the entire season. Christian McCaffrey was there for the entire season. The 49ers won 12 games and a playoff game, and Christian McCaffrey was the offensive player of the year.
Yeah. Christian
McCaffrey makes half the money that Nick Bosa makes. Now explain that and to make that make sense. That's my supposition. My supposition is that Christian McCaffrey accounts for wins that Nick Bosa never could. And Nick Bosa makes twice the amount of money that Christian McCaffrey makes. It does not make sense. The market is askew. That's all I'm saying, is that they've decided that edge rushers should make twice the amount of money as a number one running back.
And if they're offering the money, edge rushers by all means get it.
This is a conversation about the market, not about men.
Right, for sure. But you know how it gets confused, and
I want Michael Parsons to make $300 million if he can, and Myles Garrett and any other man. I don't pocket watch men. We talking about the market and market value.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like we don't talk about men. We talk about the market. We talk about market and games and analysis. We not talking about individuals.
Right.
I'm just talking about that the market has decided that these people should make $40 or $50 million. And I'm questioning that the market has made that decision. And why? Because, again, a number one running back, when the Giants wanted the top 5 pick, they had to let Saquon Barkley go in free agency. That's when they got Malik Neighbors. When Carolina wanted the number 1 pick, they had to trade Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. Then they got Bryce Young.
Well,
when the Tennessee Titans wanted to get the number 1 pick, they had to let Derrick Henry go to the Baltimore Ravens. Then they got Cam Ward. Oh. Those men, they account for too many wins for you to ever get the number 1 pick. You really to be in the top 5. You're not going to really be in the top 5 with a number 1 running back. None of these really good running backs play for bottom feeders. The running back is just an example.
Not for long, they don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not consistently.
Right.
The best edge rusher, these best edge rushers, the $40 million edge rusher, Max Crosby, his team got the number 1 pick. And they bad every year. Year after year.
Lay off my Team B Raiders.
I'm not knocking Max Crosby. I'm just saying that they paying
They're
him
terrible.
$40 million. The Raiders,
Tom's gonna turn it around.
Yeah, they picking early every year, and you see they done already tried to get him out of town, and Baltimore got cold feet. They like, yeah, it's okay. We gonna pay this other guy. You go on back to Las Vegas.
Cold feet. They treated him like Lamont Sanford at the altar, bro. That was bad.
Yeah, but so at any
all
rate,
the bitch in front of his face. Yeah, he here. We'll tell him we don't want him. You want us to tell him right now?
But at any rate.
Yeah, Max, we straight. Peace out. Flight back home's on us.
But, yeah, so you look at any of the past 7 Super Bowl winners, none of them have a $40 million edge rusher. They don't.
That's a stone cold fact right there, bro.
And we talked about interior. I'm not talking about interior defensive linemen. Interior defensive linemen are different, and I think they hold a different value. But again, that's a conversation for another day. What you got, nephew?
So, to your point about your biggest criticism with the edge rusher and their values and whatnot, I just want to let it be known that Garrett's cap hit for the next couple of years, it starts off at 16.5 at 2027, 21.3 in 2028, and then I believe it is 9.14 million for this year.
Oh, okay.
And then it doesn't balloon until 2029 when the Rams will have to either decide on taking on 52.4 million in dead money or keep Garrett at a near 42 million cap charge. So they kind of getting him for
a pretty good price.
A pretty good price at the same time
because his contract is backloaded.
But I wanted to ask y'all about the Cleveland side of this trade because
I was just about to ask that. But go ahead, nephew.
I feel like it's a win-win trade for both sides.
I do too. I like Jared Verse.
I'm about to say he's no bum.
I like Jared Verse, and he's young.
For Cleveland, they're getting off a lot of future money that right now their situation doesn't really fit that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
For Jared Verse, I mean, I don't know what Todd Monken plans to do on defense, but I think if you're asking me, as far as along the defensive line, I'd rather have the potential of Cleveland's than I'd rather have than the potential of LA's. I'm talking about the pieces around them.
Sure.
And then on top of that, you managed to get another draft pick in the first-round pick in the 2027 draft.
Which is going to be loaded, yep.
Now the pressure's on whoever was at quarterback. They got to show up because
got to turn up, yep.
You got to make that play now because your job is on the line pretty much because they got 2 picks. They can do whatever they want to.
Yep. No, all excellent stuff. Yeah, I was about to get into the Cleveland side of the trade because I mirror a lot of what you had to say. I like Jared Verse.
Yeah, man.
I think that's listen, nobody is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is
right.
He's
one of them ones.
Yeah, he the best pass rusher in football.
But you got a young guy that now Mason Graham can perhaps grow with. And
you
kind of now, solidify your defensive line. And like you say, they've got picks now where if they want to even sauce it up even more.
Yep.
And in that division, it might be a good idea.
Yeah. And Cleveland's defense is traditionally good.
Is Schwartz still there?
No, he left because he didn't get the job.
Yeah, he
Because
didn't
he didn't get the head coach job? Okay. So he did split. I thought maybe they might have gave him some apology, though. But no, he split. Okay.
Yeah, he left.
So I think the question for Cleveland coming up this year is, I think if you let's pencil Verse in for 9 sacks and 11 tackles for loss. I think it's just a matter of how do they replace those other 14 sacks and 22 tackles for loss.
Well, yeah, I mean, right.
Because you still got one of the best DBs in the league in Denzel Ward.
Yeah, you do.
You still got pieces on that defense to build around and still have a solid unit. So it's just a matter of just how they replace that production and and how much of it they replace.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the answer is you probably don't. That's because that's just an elite amount of sacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you probably don't get that many sacks. I mean, or you try to replace that production by committee where, there's just more people, because for the amount of attention that Myles Garrett is going to draw, nobody else is going to get that much attention either. So there'll probably be more opportunities for other guys to show up and make a contribution. But yeah, I mean, listen, the easy answer is that there's just going to be a hole over there. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a big hole where 95 used to be.
Get in where you fit in.
Yeah,
We're just going to collectively try to fill it.
Yeah, and Jared Verse is like I said, really good young defensive end who I like a lot. I mean, I think that he's a high quality defensive, and he's just scratching the surface of his potential. But, I mean, listen, because I think he was in the 2024 draft. So, he's still just really young. He really just, starting to that's why Andrew Berry wanted him. But no, I mean, listen, you don't replace 95. You just don't. Myles Garrett is that good. I mean, you just got to respect that you got a big hole over there now, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this A.J. Brown to the Patriots, man, because also this past Monday, the Philadelphia Eagles traded wide receiver A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots for a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. By trading Brown after June 1st, the Eagles avoid a major cap charge this season by splitting Brown's signing bonus proration over the next 2 seasons. Currently, Brown is signed through 2029. The Patriots and Brown's representation don't decide to restructure his current contract. Brown will turn 29 this month, and he's coming off his 4th consecutive 1,000-yard season. This offseason, New England moved on from their top pass catcher from last season, Stephon Diggs. They have since added Romeo Doubs, and by adding Brown, they are seen to have added a true number 1. So let me ask the people's champ, man, does the AFC run through New England with the acquisition of A.J. Brown, or are the young Pats poised to take a step back?
Yeah, Kemosabe, the AFC running through the Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think the dynamics are going to change for the Patriots this season, just for the simple fact that they're not going to take anyone by surprise.
Absolutely.
This season.
I wrote that in my notes as well.
One thing the NFL does, they're going to adjust to you.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I rose with Drake May, but Drake May is going to have to continue to improve if he, thinks he's going to continue to be in the 90s. And you know what I mean when we're talking about ratings. So there's that. Oh, man, Jalen Brunson looks hobbled bad.
Yeah, man. I think he just got knocked down on that last play. That's why he complaining. He just got banged and he didn't get the call.
He didn't get fouled. But, so, I mean, I think that's they're going to be competitive. They're going to be in the thick of it, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But, especially with their division, Buffalo's going to have a lot to say about it, I feel.
Yep.
So I think maybe even the pressure kind of shifting off Buffalo to New England to have those higher expectations.
And that first place schedule.
Yeah, may actually be beneficial to Buffalo as they work with the new coach and the new scheme and all of that.
Absolutely.
So, no, I don't think it runs through New England. But I do think A.J. Brown needed a change of scenery.
I agree.
So I do think in the long run it helps Drake May, but I don't necessarily know in terms of versus the rest of the NFL, will it necessarily look better than last year in terms of wins and losses or Super Bowl wins?
Sure. Yep. Listen, no, the AFC does not run through New England. We certainly agree on that. Although I like the A.J. Brown acquisition for sure. But it appears Patrick Mahomes is on track to start week 1.
Oh, snap.
And assuming that they've corrected some of their issues on the offensive line, they will be formidable over there in Kansas City. Lamar Jackson seems to be healthy and motivated with a new coaching staff, and likewise for Josh Allen, as you pointed out. Bo Nix also looks like he'll be healthy for the start of next season, though there may be a contract situation delaying his participation in off-season activities because he's due for an extension. And, again, that's one of our summertime topics that will get into as that situation materializes. Justin Herbert will have a lot to prove this season, and I even forgot to mention that Joe Burrow looks like he's going to be back and healthy as well.
For now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Right.
Joe Shiesty's my guy, but good God, can we make it through this season?
Houston has made some upgrades as well to their offensive line, and their defense will still be one of the very best in football. So I don't necessarily see New England as the same threat that they were last year, though I think they'll be in the mix with the good teams. Go ahead.
Who do you think will, let's say, I don't want to say fall off because that sounds so negative, but when you look at, say, the Colts
Sure.
and the Patriots. Of those two, who do you think maybe sustains or improves on where they were last year, and who takes a step back between, say, those? Those were like probably the bigger like surprise teams of the AFC last year.
I mean, I don't, mean to be a negative Nancy, but there's a world where they both take a giant step backward because of all of the things that I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that there's going to be a lot of improvement because didn't McDaniels go to the Chargers, the OC?
I believe
from New England.
No. Mike McDaniels.
Mike
McDaniels from Miami.
Miami, that's right. Yeah, Mike McDaniels. Mike McDaniels went to the Chargers. He's their new OC. So I see their offense improving. And then they had a rash of injuries at running back, and their two starting tackles were hurt. Yeah. Slater and Joe Alt. So I'm like, I can envision they're going to be much better. And they were still a playoff team last year without both of their starting tackles and a mass unit at the running back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, there's, last season for New England in a lot of respects, and I'm not trying to, knock on New England, but it was a perfect storm.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying? Burrow got hurt. Mahomes got hurt. Lamar was really hurt all year. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bo Nix broke his ankle in the semifinals of the playoffs right before
the AFC
the last play of the second to last play of the game. So, I mean, it was a perfect storm. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, listen, you still got to win. You still got to play the games. I'm not taking anything away from.
Got to put yourself in the position for some luck to come your way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not taking anything away from New England. But, that's all not going to line up that way again. You know what I'm saying? So, that's my thought. I'm like, I agree with you. No, it doesn't run through New England. I think New England could be in the mix. They could be tough. I think they'll be a formidable opponent. I still have concerns about the offensive line. We talk about Will Campbell. I don't want to beat up on him, but I still think he's got some maturing to do. Yeah. Let's just say at that left tackle position, because that's going to be, that's going to be a point of concern until he continues to get better and better. That dude is a nuclear weapon, bro. Dude is just a nuclear weapon. Monster. Dylan Harper is a beast. But yeah, so I just don't I don't see them being as formidable as they were. But with that being said, man, let me ask you about the Eagles. Because looking over on the Eagles side, reaction from the locker room has ranged from some feeling a sense of loss to some feeling a sense of relief. The Eagles drafted Mekhi Lemon, the Biletnikoff Award winner from USC, and they also drafted Dontavian Wicks. They also traded for Dontavian Wicks earlier this offseason. Those moves were seemingly in anticipation of losing A.J. Brown. New offensive coordinator Sean Mannion is expected to attempt to revitalize the running game and allow Hurts to use his legs more to open up the pass and read option scheme. So let me ask the people's champ, will A.J. Brown's absence mean less wide receiver production or more opportunities for the new acquisitions?
Wow. Wait, say that again. You said more
will his absence mean less wide receiver production or more opportunity for these new acquisitions?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because Saquon can catch out of the backfield.
Correct. And also they may run the ball more. Sean Mannion seems like he may want to run the ball more, maybe get Goddard involved more, use the legs.
Well, I was going to say, and we all know Jalen loves his tight ends, pause.
Right.
But, so, and not to say that Devonta isn't capable of being a number one, because I feel that he is.
Sure. I still think that, they have good receivers.
So, I think the scheme may change. You get what I'm saying? Jalen's passing numbers may be better next year, but it may just be spread out more amongst, let's say, the backs and ends more so than the receivers. So, I guess to your point, I guess it would be a decrease in wide receiver production, but I believe that could lead to an increase in offensive production as a whole.
And you know what? I can see a world where the wide receivers get less receptions but more yards because
right. I hear you.
Like A.J. Brown, I mean, he had 1,000 yards. He had 1,003 yards on 78 catches. You know, like that's like tight end production. You know what I'm saying? Like that's very few yards per reception. 78 receptions and 1,003 yards is like, you know, I didn't do the math, but it's like, what, 7-8 yards a catch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
somewhere around there.
that seemed like wide out production. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, you know what I'm saying, like wide receiver production. So I think that, you know, with Mekhi Lemon, Dontavian Wicks, and Smith, they're going to stretch the field a lot more. You know what I'm saying? So where if you get that running game going, safeties are coming down more, people are coming up, and now you got the read option. So one thing that Hurts didn't do a lot he didn't use his legs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
So that allowed the safeties really to stay back. He wasn't a threat with it. When he becomes a threat with his legs, then all of a sudden the top comes off the defense. And now you can get some deeper shots. So, you know, nobody may have 78 receptions, but you know, somebody might have 65 receptions for 1,200 yards. You know what I'm saying? Because they going over the top much more. So I can actually see, you know, that's what I wrote. I'm like, I can see a world where there's fewer receptions, but there's more yards. There's more shot plays because guys actually have to come down.
They get more juice out of each squeeze.
Correct. Yeah, and as opposed to having to just, you know, like matriculate the ball down the field so much. So yeah, like I actually can see a world where there's an increase in yardage production as opposed to just so many dink and dunk receptions to the wide receivers, because, you know, that was a little bit of A.J. Brown's wheelhouse because he was so big and physical. You know, he kind of, you know, ran a lot of the short stop routes and the over the middle stuff. So, you know, where these guys I think will be able to stretch the field a lot more. Let's talk about these Lions OTAs injury updates.
Exciting.
I know. The Detroit Lions have completed the first week of OTAs 2026.
And no one died.
Yeah, right. Thank the Lord.
Right.
Organized team activities, for anybody who's not familiar with the acronym. That means there are injuries and participation updates. Levi Onwuzurike, who has recovered from spinal fusion surgery and is also recovering from ACL reconstruction, was a participant in OTAs. I know that dude just can't catch a break.
Good God.
Onwuzurike had ACL reconstruction in May of 2025, shortly after signing a one-year contract. My personal opinion is that the Lions are likely to move on, but they are extending him an opportunity to make the roster. Now on to more important Lions. No disrespect to Levi.
Jeez.
Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, and Sam LaPorta. These are the people that we want to know about, are not practicing, which fits expectations based upon their respective injuries. Brian Branch is recovering from a ruptured Achilles, suffered in early December. Kirby Joseph is still dealing with a degenerative knee issue characterized by a bone bruise, while Sam LaPorta suffered a herniated disc that required surgery back in November of 2025. We still suspicious about that.
Right.
But that's a conversation for another day. Both Branch and Joseph are participating in team meetings, while LaPorta has been said to be doing some limited work with jog-throughs. His activity could ramp up over the course of OTAs. Also, optimistic timelines give us Kirby and LaPorta for the start of the season and Branch after the bye week. Most of the offseason conversation has been centered around the improvement along the offensive line, but my concern continues to be the defensive backfield. So let me ask the people's champ, are concerns about the defensive backfield legitimate, or do you believe enough has been done to address the deficiencies that we saw, particularly late in the season?
No, man.
What say you?
They're absolutely legitimate. Are you serious? Like, bro, if you think Brian Branch is going to be back after the bye week, I've got beachfront property in Idaho for you.
I said that was the optimistic.
I mean, the water's great. Like, stop. I'm not saying you, but I'm like,
Right,
man,
yeah.
like, please, no way. And I don't want. I would be very nervous.
Yeah, right. I want him to be 100% healthy, especially with the way he plays. He plays so physical and downhill,
and we ask so much of him.
Yeah.
You know, so no. And then with Joseph, degenerative. It means it's never going to be better.
Yes, I know.
So
I know.
You know,
so we don't know even what version of him we're going to get.
Whatever it was, it won't be the 2024 version that we fell in love with. So that's a problem. In terms of have we done adequate job of replacing or addressing it, the time will tell. We just got to see on the field. I mean, because, you know, much like last year, you know, when we kind of had the whole Legion of Whom thing going on, it came a point when the rubber met the road in a high stakes situation. Yeah, you know, it was Northern exposure. Yeah, I mean, so you're not comfortable with that Chuck Clark acquisition? You don't feel like that's yeah. I'm sorry, my excitement is contained. No, I'm trying. I continue to be concerned about the pass defense. I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll get the personnel on the field that we need, namely Kirby Joseph. I'm holding out hope that he's a day one, game one starter. But, but as you just said eloquently, you know, even in the best of circumstance, we don't really know if we're getting the same Kirby Joseph that we have grown to love. Also, the cornerback duo, DJ Reed and, of course, Tyrion Arnold. They've got to be near the bottom, bro. I mean, listen, you know, they had their struggles last year. Flags and grabs. Yeah, even when they were healthy. So, you know, the good news is we're not starting out against the most devastating pass attacks. You know, with the Saints, and even Buffalo is more of a running attack. You know, not that I'm bullish on our run defense, but the early returns on Kylie Williams are positive, and at least Aleem McNeil is healthy. So on the bright side, even with all the problems we had last season, no consistent third receiver, inconsistent offensive line play, a revolving door at tight end, and a weathered left tackle who at times resembled a turnstile. Man. We still had a top 5 offense, and I don't think there's any way that it's not better. You know, the offensive line will be better. Sewell is going to be playing left tackle. Our rookie Miller should be very solid at right tackle. Tesla should take a step forward offensively, and I heard somebody say that Gibbs, a guy who had 1,900 all-purpose yards last year, is due for a breakout season. Well, sign me up for it. Yeah, and even though for 95% of the running backs in the NFL, 1,900 all-purpose yards is a breakout season, I understand what he meant. Gibbs is slated to get about 70% of the reps, and the personnel around him will be healthier and or upgraded in almost every way. So I like that. I say all that to say that we don't need the defense to be the 85 Bears or the 2000 Ravens, man. We just need them to be middle of the pack. They just can't be the 2025 Lions. Thank you. We just need to be middle of the pack against the run and against the pass, man. That's it. Yeah. If we can get middle of the pack, man, I would be just over the moon. So, you know, I think the linebacker play will be improved. I like the kid that we drafted. I'm hoping that Kylie Williams is really taking this step forward. I've heard his name a few times, like, reading through the OTA stuff. And, again, it's 1 week of OTA, so I'm not, I'm not here trying to sell dreams. I know. But listen, I'm looking for stuff to hold on to. So call me the lion slappy, but I'm looking for things to get excited about. And Fitu Melifonwu. Yeah. OTA legend. OTA legend. Yeah, what you got, nephew?
Yeah, San Antonio 55-48. Yeah, Harper 12 points, Champagny 15 points. Thank you, sir, for that update.
All right.
Man, let's talk about these draft lottery odds changes, man, because I need some help from the people's champ with these.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna explain it as best I can.
Oh, okay. How about that? You have to be for help on that. I'm like, shit.
I have the details.
All right. Sock it to me.
And I'm gonna need you too on this one, nephew, because you got to help me out. Okay, so let's talk about the NBA draft lottery changes. The NBA has changed this draft lottery odds as a part of their anti-tanking measures. The lottery will now expand from 14 to 16 teams. So it will include 2 of the play-in teams or both of the 8 seeds. Okay. A team cannot get back-to-back number 1 picks, nor can it get 3 straight top 5 picks. So for simplification, there will be 37 lottery balls. If you finish with the 4th through 10th, if you finish with the 4th through 10th worst records, you'll get an 8% chance to win the lottery. If you finish with the 1st through 3rd worst records, or the 11th through 14th worst records, you'll get a 5.5% chance to win the lottery. And if you are one of the 8 seeds in either conference, you'll get a 2.7% chance to win the lottery. I know that's a lot. So essentially the idea is that teams will fight to try not to be one of the bottom 3 teams, right? Because that will worsen your odds. And also teams will try to not play their way out of playoff contention because there will be no incentive to. So, and I know that that's probably a lot. So if you can cut through all of the confusion of all of the percentages, do you like the measure or do you believe that it only punishes bad organizations?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to keep kicking bad organizations while they're down.
Yeah, I mean, right.
It's just stupid, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they should have just keep taking away the lottery picks of the teams that are caught flagrantly tanking.
Yeah.
Like, even if you suspect them of doing it, if they would have just had a culture and an environment of it's not tolerated, then it would have been eliminated. You know, it's even if it would have been forceful and, you got to, break a couple of eggs to make an omelet sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have just nipped this in the bud a long time ago, we wouldn't have had to gotten to this point because, that's just silly. Like,
so, okay.
And you're trying to grow the league?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I do think this punishes bad organizations, and I'm kind of okay with that because bad organizations should be punished. Here's my concern, and here's what is not clearly explained, right? A team can't get back-to-back number 1 picks and 3 straight top 5 picks. In principle, I'm fine with that. In reality, this is a lottery. By definition, there are 3 elements to a lottery. The second one is chance.
Right.
I quote, the winner is selected completely at random, unquote. So part of the problem is that the lottery suspiciously and auspiciously goes a certain way every year. You know, the Mavericks trade Luka, and miraculously they get the number 1 pick next year. The Cavaliers, heartbreaking fashion, lose LeBron to free agency. But wait, there's a ram in the bush. It's the number 1 pick. Anthony Davis. He goes from New Orleans to the Los Angeles Lakers in a blockbuster trade. The next year, who gets the number 1 pick? Wait for it. The New Orleans Pelicans, the team that Anthony Davis left. There's a generational talent just waiting on the other side of that number 1 pick.
Even when Bron left Cleveland the first time, they got the number 1 pick.
That's what I said.
They just blew it on Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, they got the number 1 pick 3 out of the next 4 years.
Yeah, they just blew it on that bum Bennett.
So people are tired of the draft being allegedly manipulated. So now you're saying we're going to just manipulate it.
Right.
Even when it's supposed to be random.
Right.
So if a team got the number 1 pick last year and the lottery ball comes up, what's going to happen?
They're going to grab it and throw it out.
You're right. So let's work a scenario because I picked 10 random teams, right, next year. Good. So let's do this. Next year, Memphis has Utah's pick. This is a true story. Utah cannot get a top 5 pick. That's why Memphis is the lone team that voted against this measure. So I took 10 teams: Sacramento, Phoenix, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Golden State, Los Angeles Clippers, Portland Trail Blazers, Memphis Grizzlies, Dallas Mavericks, and the Miami Heat, right? I'm doing the lottery, picking the lottery balls. 10, Portland, right? Portland Trail Blazers. 9, Memphis Grizzlies. 8, Golden State Warriors. 7, Charlotte Hornets. 6, what happens? We need to know. I need to know what happens when 6 comes up and Utah can't get a top 5 pick. Is it no longer a lottery? Are you going to reach in there and look at the balls and say, okay, Utah can't get a pick?
You're just going to be like, Utah 6, shut up.
Right, yeah. Like, what exactly are we doing? Because a lottery process is supposed to be random. So now this has gone from a lottery to a draft order selection process. This is not a lottery anymore once you have decided that you can't get back-to-back number 1 picks and you can't get 3 straight top 5 picks.
They done went from the lottery to playing the number.
Exactly. Yeah, like we on the New York Stock Exchange now. So I'm like, y'all got to help me with this. So how is this going to be a lottery when you can artificially manipulate who can get what pick? I don't understand that, because then it's no longer randomized.
Yeah. That is.
Unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I mean, cause the way you explained it to me prior, I how does that work?
I'm like, this is no longer a lottery. This is now we just selecting who can pick where. And, not that people don't already believe that that's what's happening,
right.
but now
since its inception.
Yeah, like
Patrick Ewing going to the Knicks.
This is what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, so people have already believed that you've been selecting who can go where. And then the next problem that I have, very briefly, is that when a pick is traded, it needs to become the possession of the team that is traded to. Just like with Memphis, because Memphis took Utah's pick, but Utah can't get a top 5 pick. So now Memphis is going to be punished for what Utah has done. Memphis didn't get 2 top 5 picks. Utah did. Now Utah can't get a 3rd top 5 pick, so Memphis can't get a top 5 pick. So Memphis is going to get punished, and then guess what happens when Utah's in the lottery next year? They can get a top 5 pick.
No.
How is that fair to Memphis? Memphis just took Utah's punishment. So when a pick is traded, because nobody's going to trade picks anymore if you do that. They're going to be like, no, I don't know I'm not taking your pick because I don't know, you might get 2 picks.
There's no value in it.
Yeah,
now.
and then I might get screwed out of a top 5 pick because you got 2 top 5 picks 2 years before that. I'm not taking your 2029 and 2030. Yeah, so I'm like, they got to figure out what they're going to do about that, because people are going to get squeamish about taking other teams' picks, particularly in the future, if 2 teams can't get, you can't get 3 top 5 picks, or you can't get back-to-back number 1 picks, because then I'm gonna get screwed out of a pick. So yeah, I'm not sure how this is randomized. If you're gonna just be like, oh yeah, you got the number 1 pick, well, you can't have 2 back-to-back number 1 picks. So now you got the number 2 pick and they got the number 1 pick, or you got a top 5 pick, so you got to switch with whoever's in 6. I'm like, I'm not sure how they gonna do it, and they haven't explained it, because I looked for that information, and it's nowhere to be found.
All right.
And so the NBA is going to have to work on explaining exactly how you're going to randomize not allowing a team into the top 5 if they're a lottery team and they're due a lottery ball.
NBA draft numbers.
Yep. So I'm like, somebody got to help me with that. The NBA, they got some splaining to do, because you can't have a lottery and exclude teams from getting certain picks. That is not how it works in the real world.
Right.
It may work like that in the NBA world, but it don't work like that in the real world. And then I got the last update that I had. This came in this morning, so I didn't put this on the list. But I got a Jalen Duren contract update.
I think I saw it.
Yep, the Pistons and Jalen Duren are expected to discuss a contract worth up to $220 million over 5 years, per Hunter Patterson, a Detroit Pistons beat writer. There's a general consensus around the league as things stand today that negotiations likely began far apart and will eventually come to a middle ground. Some fans have already reacted unfavorably to the news, saying that the deal is too large. based upon his playoff performance, while others argue that lowballing a young player can create unnecessary resentment that could linger, eventually damaging the long-term relationship with the franchise. Also, his age makes it likely that he will improve his play, and with league revenues increasing, the average annual salary of $44 million will eventually be a bargain. That's what they say, but what do you say? People's champ, 5 years, $220 million, too much, just right? Or at this point, are you just ready for them to either do it or not and stop beating around the bush? What say you?
Yeah, man. I just wish people would just earn their money, dude. Just earn your money. Like agent, Trajan, we know what it is. You guys know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Like, if the numbers next year legitimately defends doing something like this, then you do it. But if it does not, then you just get creative with the contract. Like, I mean, like, what are we doing? Like, we can't do a 4-1?
What I mean,
or a 3-1?
That's
like,
probably what this is. This is probably so. I think
because I think what ends up happening, to your point, a lot of times, and not these reports come out, and a lot of the asterisk information is left out, and then there's a fever pitch created by the fan base that agents here, players here, front office here, like the internet makes all of the noise available and at everyone's front doorstep.
Yeah.
And it all plays into this type of stuff.
Sure.
So it's like, come on, man. We've all seen it. No one wants to throw Jalen Duren out with the bathwater.
No.
But no one wants him making more than Cade Cunningham either.
No, he can't do that.
You know,
That's a non-starter.
You know, so I mean, I want him here.
Yeah.
But I also want room to bring other players here that he can be maximized here.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
No
because
question.
I think we've proven that where it is right now, we may be asking too much of Jalen Duren to be a number 2 guy right now.
Sure.
There may be spurts and matchups and intervals in the future in the playoffs where we can feature him as a number 2 guy and that be what the situation calls for.
Yeah.
But on a night in, night out basis, that may not be the role for him here. And that's okay.
Sure.
But we've got to figure that out. I mean, I think that's what the front office people get paid for.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, 220 kind of scares me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, like, because he's improved every year. So I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet.
Right.
But, you know, that memory of those last playoff performances are front of mind.
Yes,
so
they're lingering.
I mean, there's that. So I just, you know, I just hope they just, you know, do what they're paid to do and find that, you know, happy medium with like a 3-1 or something. Like I was always a fan of like 175, something like that.
What you got now?
I'm saying this for the 3rd week in a row. Why are we trying to force the 5th year?
So here's my thing. I mean, here's what I believe. So this is going to be a bit of conjecture. I believe that somebody's going to come with the 177.4, which is the $44 million a year. That's what I believe. I think that's why that's where the number is now, because I think that I really think the Lakers are coming. I really do. Pause. But you know what I'm saying? I think the Lakers are going to come with that offer sheet because everything that I read from over there gives me the indication that they're very interested in getting him into a Lakers uniform. So I think that they probably have it on decent authority that that's going to happen, which is why they've settled at this number. The number is 44. I always thought the number was around 40. So they've settled on 44. Now, you know, 4 years, I would expect that it's probably 4 years in a team option, which I'm good with. You know what I'm saying? Because then you still got the option Because 4 years in a team option, 3 years in a player option, that's the same thing to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel what you saying, nephew. If it was 4 years in a player option, I would probably have the same feeling as you. I suspect, I mean, I don't know to a certainty. Again, this is conjecture. I believe that this is probably 4 in a team. And it's the same $44 million a year that another team could offer him anyway. And I'm like, I don't want to offer him more than another team could offer him, and they're not. This is that number. This is $44 million with some makeup and some high heels on. And it probably makes him feel better to see $220 million on the paper as opposed to, just what any other team could offer him.
A little BBL contract. Exactly,
yeah. And if he's playing great, coming up to the end of that, then we pick up the team option. Maybe we even give him an extension, if he averaging 25 and 13 and, he playing at an all-NBA level, when he 25, 26 years old, which is actually what I expect. I expect that he will be because of how good he is. Like I was writing a little commentary, talking about Wemby and Jalen Duren. I'm like, here's the two things I know about these two guys, right? I'm like, the one thing about Wemby is that he will get more skill.
Yes.
He takes his skill level very seriously. The one thing about Jalen Duren is that he will get stronger. You can see it in his physical makeup.
There's no way.
He's a monster, though. I'm like, now here's what needs to happen. Jalen Duren needs to get more skilled, and Wemby needs to get stronger. I'm like, that's what needs to happen.
Little Freaky Friday action.
Exactly, yeah. I'm like, and I think that both will happen, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the improvement in Duren's skills, yeah. And just even his offensive package. You've seen where he's put in the work. So that's fair. That's more than fair.
Yeah. So, so I'm kind of with you, nephew. I'm not thrilled about a 5th year, but if it's a team option, then that's cool because the team can opt out. If it's a player option, I'm less good with it, but as long as it's the 44 and not the 57, I'm cool. I didn't,
57's nuts.
5 years, 287 is dastardly. I can't abide. That's insanity. Like that can't happen. He can't make more. Like you said, he can't make more than Cade. That's the other thing. Like, if Cade is 5 years, 259, can't go higher than that. You can't make more than Cade on principle. But I kind of feel like this is just the $44 million dressed up, and this is what we always kind of knew it was gonna be. So, again, I wasn't thrilled when I saw that reporting, but then when I started doing the math, I'm like, okay,
that's a good way to look at it, though.
Yeah, he kind of trying to give him what he want, and and we get what we want to without having to, outbid other teams per se. But anything for the SS segment, man? You got any more? You got another rant in you, nephew?
That one last week was pretty epic.
Yeah, nephew with the epic rant last week.
It was pretty epic.
You got anything now?
I don't got nothing this week.
Okay, nothing this week. You got anything for the SS?
No, I mean, I keep it light and simple, man. Any and all haters of Naomi Osaka's Roland Garros All Black Party is on extreme sucker shit for the week.
Okay.
Outside of that.
Period.
Yeah, outside of that.
He said what he said, yeah. And, yeah, man, I ain't really witnessed nothing, man. This, all that hating on SGA, for the foul baiting and the flopping, and, again, ignoring James Harden for the foul baiting and the flopping. You know what I'm saying? People act like James Harden retired. I don't really understand.
I am interested to see, as we close out, what the 2026, 2027 SGA offensive package will look like.
Oh, yeah. No, listen.
I think it will be refined,
mm-hmm.
more lethal.
Oh, yeah.
It may involve less free throws and more threes.
Yeah. You know what?
And watch out.
That's an interesting Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I got a lot of SGA conversation queued up for over the summer.
All right, let's get to
we
it.
got some great debate topics, man, that we gonna be hitting y'all with, man. We got some partnerships that we looking into, man, that, we'll be announcing if and when they materialize, man. There's a lot of great stuff going on with the Everybody Has One podcast. None of it is possible, man, without the Everybody Has One family, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Make sure y'all continue to like, share, and subscribe. That's Everybody Has the #1 sports podcast on YouTube. That's Everybody Has One spelled out sports podcast everywhere else. That's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's Twitch, that's Threads, and that's TikTok. The audio version of the podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, man. Make sure y'all tapping in with us there. When you subscribe on YouTube, make sure you hit that bell notification. When you hit that bell notification, make sure you hit all so that you are informed and alerted every single time that we post new content, new videos, new shorts, and, of course, every time we go live, which is every Wednesday at 8:30 or as close as we can get to it. Make sure y'all telling everybody, too, man, and take the content and post it on your page, man. Share it on your personal social media pages, man. That is much appreciated. Propagate that content with us, man. None of this is possible without the Everybody Has One family, man. We appreciate y'all so very, very much for tapping in with us, tuning in with us every single week, and telling everybody that you know about it, man. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell people you don't like, tell people you don't know.
Tell everybody.
Tell everybody, man. And until next week, man, we will meet y'all back here next Wednesday at 8:30 or as close as we can get to it, man. Until then, click like, click share, click subscribe, like all of the shorts, videos, and all of that good stuff, man. We appreciate y'all, man. It's the Everybody Has One podcast. Peace.